So let's go ahead and start with our tall standing body. So tall standing body is feet hip distance apart and parallel, glutes active. Pull those ab muscles in towards your belly button. Pull your shoulders down your back. Pull those back muscles down towards your tailbone. Bring your hands to your thighs. And now we're going to inhale and raise those hands up towards the sky. Breathe as deeply into your belly as you can. When we get to the top, we're going to open the hands up into a snow angel, exhaling all the way down. Use your shoulder muscles as we inhale up to pull your hands back behind you a little bit as you're doing this. You're pulling those shoulder blades together and back as we exhale down for another snow angel. And inhale up. Do please turn your camera on. I would like to see you. I'm not going to call anybody out, but it does help me if I'm not doing good cueing for the exercise. Okay, let's bring the hands together. Shift our weight over to our right foot and bend ourselves over the imaginary beach ball. Left foot over the imaginary beach ball to our right side. Weight is shifted over onto our left foot. Then we're going to inhale up and exhale down and over to our left, shifting the weight to the right foot, eyes down on the floor. And inhale up and exhale down and back over to the right. Weight on the left foot, eyes down on the floor. Inhale up, exhale down and back over. One more time to the left. And inhale up to the top. Drop your hands, resume normal breathing, and we're going to do trunk rotations. So find something to focus your eyes on in the distance so that you can keep your head still and work on pulling your shoulders back. Whoops, and I need to move a little bit because I almost knocked the Wi-Fi off, which would have been catastrophic. I think I did that last week too. So think about pulling the shoulders back, using your shoulder muscles to pull you into that trunk rotation. Don't worry about the pull forward. That'll happen naturally. You don't have to pull forward, but do pull back. You want to work that back body. And we'll go from this into marching in place. So to march in place, you want to lift the foot, heel first, drop the toe, bring the foot straight up in the air, and then press it right straight down, right in the same spot it was on the floor as you do the same thing on the other side. We're going to move our arms opposite the legs, so as the right leg comes up, the left arm comes up, and the movement should be in the shoulder for your arms. So not the elbows. Lock those elbows in at 90 degrees and move your shoulders. If you ever watch sprinters sprint, they're moving their shoulders, not their elbows. And part of the reason for us moving our shoulders right now is, again, that back body, that posterior chain. We want to get those our back of our shoulders, our muscles to be strong and active. That comes in handy when we get on the bike. Also comes in handy when we do the next exercise. So everybody grab their extra light mini band. If you don't have an extra light mini band, if you have any sort of resistance band at all, grab it. If you don't, you can do this exercise without the mini band, just not quite as effective. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring our hands, put our hands inside the band, palms facing each other, thumbs on the outside of the band. Bend your elbows to 90 degrees and tuck the elbows in tight to our sides. And from here, pull your hands apart just a little bit so that they're parallel to each other. We're going to now press our hands up overhead as far as we can reach. We're trying to keep the elbows from flying out. And the elbows fly out because we're not pulling our shoulders in and together, and we're letting the forearms come apart. So you have to keep pulling the forearms apart to keep the elbows from flying apart. So I'm seeing some elbows flying apart. Bring those elbows in. Use your shoulder muscles to bring the elbows in. If you have a straight band, you're just going to hold it between your thumbs. Just pinch it between your thumbs. If you have a non-looped band. As we press up, make sure you're pulling apart the whole time so there's tension, pulling that band apart. Bring those elbows in. Still seeing some elbows that are swung out wide. I want to see elbows pulled in nice and tight. All right. Now let's come into a 90-degree bend and tuck those elbows in tight to your sides. Keep them tucked into your sides, and we're going to pull our hands apart and back in, and we're only pulling apart as far as we can pull and still keep our elbows attached to our sides. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And on number 10 here, we're going to come all the way out to the outside, and we're going to do little pulses. And whenever you're working with resistance bands, when you do the negative movement, so it's called the concentric movement, when we come in, resist that band. Don't just immediately collapse and let those hands come together. Resist that band slowly. All right, we can set the band aside. And let's go ahead and let's stay with the upper body for just a second more, and we're going to do our wall stretch. So for the wall stretch, hands are extended up over our heads, palms facing forward. Imagine, if you will, there is a wall directly behind you, and you are using your shoulder muscles to pull the back of your hands into that wall behind you. Now pull your hands down to your shoulders, make a nice little W here, and press your hands back up overhead. Keep pulling the hands back. So if you'll notice here, I'm going to turn sideways. If you can see me here, my hands are even with my ears all the way down. And the only reason they are there is that I'm pulling these shoulder blades together in the back, keeping those shoulder muscles nice and strong. Those are the muscles we're going to use to lift our front wheel over objects. I think almost everybody's had a chance to do an Ian class. And when Ian has you go slamming across those 2x4s, if you don't have these muscles right here nice and strong and pulling that front wheel back, you're gonna slam those boards pretty hard. All right, we're gonna come all the way down to our W, and then we're gonna rotate in the shoulder and turn that W into an M, and back to our W, and into an M, and back to our W, and into an M, and back to the W, and into the M, and then shake your arms out. Next up, let's come into a twice hip width stance. So our feet are twice as wide as our hips now. Toes are pointing straight ahead, so feet are parallel. We're just going to do little pulsing side lunges. In the pulsing side lunge, we're trying to line ourselves up as we come over. So I've got this hip, this knee, and this foot all lined up. If I had a zipper on, you would notice that the zipper was staying straight up and down the whole time. Make sure that your butt goes back and not out to the side as you come over onto one leg. So you should feel a stretch in your calves. You should feel the knee working. You should feel the quad working. You should feel the glute working. You should feel your hip getting moved, your knee getting moved, but especially your ankle. This is mostly an ankle stretch, an ankle mobility drill. Keep the waistline parallel to the floor. Try and keep your head and shoulders up, so pull those shoulder blades down the back, and that'll help bring your head up. And come on out of that. All right. I've got two more to do. Next one, YTAs. So for the YTA, it's two moves in one. Move one is the upper body. Press your palms together, extend your arms out so that your shoulder blades roll around the sides here a little bit. This is called scapular protraction. Scapula is your shoulder blade. So we're doing protraction. We're now going to retract the shoulder blades. We're going to pull ourselves up into a Y, a T, and an A. So Y, T, and A. That is too easy. So in order to make it a little more difficult, more like a dance move, we're going to do a single-sided lunge. So I'm going to step forward with each Y, each T, and each A, and we'll do 4 sets of 3, so 12 total. We ready? We'll start with the right leg, Y, T, and A. So let me talk about the lunge while we're doing this. In a lunge, your feet are on railroad tracks. They're hip width apart and parallel the entire time. Your front knee tracks over your shoelaces, over or towards your middle 2 toes. Your upper body stays fairly upright. Your back knee is behind your hip, and your back knee, last set right here, Y, T, that might be 5 actually. A, we'll switch legs here, switching over to the other side. So that back foot, come over top of all 5 toes. We don't want that heel flying out to the outside or dropping to the inside. We want to keep coming back to our prayer position with our upper body, pulling those arms apart. You don't have to go super deep into your lunge, only as deep as you're comfortable. And last set, Y, T, and A. All right, last warm-up exercise. Little tiny toe hops. So we're just going to bounce on our toes. If you were skipping rope, this is how you would skip rope. Or how you would jump rope, I should say. Little tiny toe hops. Three, two, and one. And come on down, take your water break. And when we come back, we'll be doing our set. We're going to be using a heavy or medium resistance band for this work. So don't overdo it. I'm going to go with a heavy. First exercise, though, we're not going to use the band, so just set that band aside. First exercise is a bear crawl front plank with shoulder taps and leg extensions. So I'm going to show you this in sideline. So quadruped position, knees under hips, hands under shoulders, neutral spine. Actually, use this hand. Neutral spine here, so I'm not arched, I'm not curled, I'm nice and flat and neutral. From here, tucking the toes under, pressing the hands in, the knees come up, and then we're going to do a shoulder tap, leg extension, and actually I take it back. I got this wrong. We're doing these in a front plank. So it's going to be front plank, shoulder tap, and then knee to elbow. Nice and slow. All right, we got 45 seconds. Everybody up, and here we go. 45 seconds. Shoulder tap, knee to elbow, Now, if you're bored with just going knee to same side elbow, you can always go knee to opposite elbow. And that's going to add a little bit more rotation to your trunk, makes it a little harder. A little bit more movement in the hip, makes you use the glutes a little bit more. And we're doing these nice and slow. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on down. Next up is going to be the rotating side plank. So for the rotating side plank, we're going to start with our forearms crossed in front of us. Make sure I got room there for my feet. And so we're in a front plank, forearms crossed in front. Feet are hip width apart. And that way, when I go into roll over into my side plank, I'm on my elbow, forearm out in front. I can roll my feet so I've got the inside edge of my top foot and the outside edge of my bottom foot on the floor. And then I can roll across my toes, pausing for a moment, and coming over here to the other side and pausing. So let me see everybody up. If you want, you can also do it in a push-up plank. It's a lot harder. Ready? And let's go. 45 seconds. Now, if you feel that you need a little more work, you can always throw a push-up in between. Make sure it's a good push-up. Make sure that you're holding a solid plank all the way through. So that means the hips aren't sagging. The hips aren't popping up either. Keeping a nice straight line. Pulling that belly button in. And remembering to breathe. So pull your diaphragm down and in. 3, 2, 1. Come on down. Take a breath. Next, we are going to be using our mini band for the next couple exercises. So grab your heavy or medium mini band. And we're going to put it over our feet. And we're going to sit nice and tall on our sit bones here. We're going to do our seated rows. So if you can have your knees straight and still be sitting up tall on your sit bones, be able to have those bones right there that you sit on, right into the floor in a neutral spine, that's fine. If you need to bend your knees a little bit to do that, do that. I'd rather see the good posture. So we're going to start with a palms up grip on our band. And shoulders are protracted. Remember in the YTA's protraction? So we start protracted with the shoulder blades. we're going to pull the shoulder blades together, so retracting them. And as we do that, we're going to pull our hands apart. From here, we row into the belly right at the bottom of our rib cage. So we're pulling with those shoulders first and then the arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We'll switch now to a palms down grip. So thumb and forefingers together, palms facing the floor, shoulders start protracted. Now we retract the shoulder blades and pull the hands apart, and then rowing into the bottom of our belly, bottom of our rib cage again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Take your left hand off, put your left hand up in the air. Hold on with your right hand, and now single arm rows. Throw a little rotation in, so as you bring that hand in, you face the palm towards your rib cage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, we're pulling shoulder first. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And switching to the other side. Palm, right hand up, left hand, palms down grip on the band. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull with the shoulder first. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, let's come on up to standing. Time to do our RDLs. So RDLs, Romanian deadlifts, also known as a bent knee deadlift. So we're going to put the band over our feet, under the sole of the shoe, over the top of the shoelaces, and we're going to come to a hip width stance. So we start in our tall standing body. We're going to hinge the hips here, butt goes back. Knees bend, but the knees don't come forward, so the knees stay over our ankles. We're going to reach down, grab our band with both hands, and we're going to stand up using these muscles back here to pull ourselves up. All right, ready? And we'll do 12. 1, 2, 3. So you should be going so far back. 4, that you find yourself on your heels. 5, like I just was. 6, but be strong. 7, and pull your toes. Using the arch of your foot, pull your toes into the floor. 8, 9, just make sure those knees don't come forward. 10, and the butt goes way back. 11, butt way back. 12, step into your band, bring it up above your knees. Whenever you bring the band up above your knees, bring your feet together first. Reason is we don't want the feet out wide and the knees collapsed in. That's a movement pattern that causes pain. All right. Next up is going to be bodyweight squats, or if you want to use a weight, if you've got a weight available, you can grab a weight. Like I've got a barbell here, and I'm going to hold it from the top plate and dig my elbows in. You can do this with your water bottle as well. So here we are. We're going to be slightly wider than hip width with our feet. Toes are pointing straight ahead. Slightly out turned is okay. And we're using our glutes to push our knees out into the bands. So use your glutes to push that band out, knees out in the bands. And here we go. We sit down in our chair. 1, 2, only as far. 3 as we can go. 4, keeping our upper body and shins parallel. 5, 6. So don't let that upper body. 7, fold over. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right. Come on down to the floor. Keep the band where it is. Set your weight down. Scoot yourself all the way to the edge of your mat so that your feet are on the floor. And what you want to do now is bring your feet up to within a hand span of your glutes. So I can touch my heels here with my fingers, my hands all the way down at my sides. I can touch my heels. Feet are hip distance apart, parallel. Knees are pressing out into the band, so they're at least hip distance apart. Now I'm going to pressurize my belly, so I'm going to pull all of my ab muscles in and press my spine from my shoulders to my tailbone into the floor. Tuck your chin in so that you don't put pressure on the back of your head and your neck. palms on the floor. From here, we're going to bring our body up as one unit all the way up to the top of a back bridge, and then come on down as one unit. All right, we'll do a set of 12. Everybody ready? And here we go. 1, 2, make sure 3, that you're still pushing the knees out. 4, into the band. 5, really squeeze those glutes at the top. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, roll yourself up to a seated position. Take the band off. Excuse me. And next up are going to be bird dogs. So for bird dogs, quadruped position again. So that's knees under hips, hands under shoulders. And we're going to extend our right hand and our left leg all the way out. Once we're extended all the way out, and we've got arm parallel to the floor, leg parallel to the floor, waistline and shoulders parallel to the floor, we're going to keep a straight knee and a straight elbow and tap our toe and fingers on the floor 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now knee to elbow under the body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Switching to the other side, so extend the left arm and the right leg parallel to the floor. Keep the shoulders and the waistline parallel to the floor. And 10 toe and finger dips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And knee to elbow under the body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Grab your water bottle, take a drink. This is our break. Okay, we're going to run through exactly that same set again, and then I'm going to make some changes for our third set. So, starting off, front plank with shoulder taps and mountain climbers, nice and slow. I'm going to give you guys another 10 seconds rest. And that time has passed. So come on up into your front plank. So nice long plank position. We ready? 45 seconds starts now. Shoulder tap, shoulder tap, knee to elbow, knee to elbow, shoulder tap, shoulder tap, knee to elbow, knee to elbow. Nice and painfully slow. And we do these slow because it helps us build additional neurologic connection. We do these slow because we want to own the movement. We want to build that muscle, take our time, do it right. That way our body learns the correct methodology for this movement. You're like, well, when do I have to tap my shoulder when I'm riding a bike? And come on down, take a break. You don't really have to tap your shoulders, but imagine, if you will, you've lost one hand, or you're reaching down to grab your water bottle. You're riding your bike, you're racing, you reach down, grab that water bottle, take a drink, put the water bottle back. That's a shoulder tap. That's that same stability while you're pedaling. All right, next is the rotating side plank. So see everybody up in their front plank again. By the way, I forgot to mention this. Anytime we're in a front plank, if you cannot do a front plank or a push-up and you want to do it on your knees, you can. I would prefer to see you do it with your upper body elevated on a piece of furniture. Okay, we ready? And here we go, 45 seconds of rotating side planks. Hold that side. Boom, 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 boom. And hold that side. Boom, 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 boom. So really take your time. Make sure when you come across the middle that you hold that front plank for just a moment too. Keep that core nice and active. Keep everything nice and active. And there's 30 seconds, 15 to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, come on down. Grab your band and come into your seated position. Band over the feet. Time for seated rows again. Same set as we did before. We're going to start with our palms up grip, and we're going to work our way into single arm. If you want to make this harder, move your legs a little bit further apart. So palms up grip. We start with those shoulders rounded around and protracted. We retract the shoulder blades. We pull our hands apart. And now we're going to row, pulling from those shoulders first right into the bottom of the rib cage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then we switch to a palms down grip. So the thumb and forefinger are together. Again, we start with the shoulders protracted. Let's retract those shoulder blades, pull the hands apart, and row into the bottom of the rib cage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Release your left hand, place it up in the air, palm facing forward, and single arm rows with the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. English optional for me. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Switching hands. Left hand, palms down grip. Right hand up in the air, palm facing forward. Single arm row. 1, 2, 3. Pull with that shoulder first. 4, 5, 6. No rotation. 7, 8. Keep your trunk facing straight ahead. 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, come on up to standing. RDL time. So RDLs, for those of you that have taken Ian's class, and I think that's pretty much everybody at this point, he talks about the hip hinge. When you are on that bike and you're what we call ready position, that position is a hip hinge. It's not a squat. So we're going to hip hinge. Hips go back, knees stay over the ankles. We're going to grab our band and pull using our hamstrings and our glutes. We want to be back. We want to have as much of our weight as we can be on our heels. 4, 5, 6. Make sure. 7. You come all the way up. 8. Squeeze those glutes together. 9, 10. Keep that core solid. 11 and 12. And step into your band. Remember to bring your feet together as you bring the band up above your knees. Next up is our squats. And you can do these body weight or add a little bit of weight. I find having a little bit of weight makes it a little easier to get into a deeper position. So slightly wider than hip width here. Knees are pressing out into the band. The glutes control the knees here. So squeezing the glutes together brings those knees out. Any sort of weight you've got, you want to have it tucked right on your chest here. I've got the top of this weight right on my collarbone, and I'm holding it tight. And here we go. We sit down in our chair. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep the knees pressing out into the band. 5, so that you're pressing into the band. 6, and out over your toes. 7 with those knees. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Good. Weight down. Body's on the floor, and it's time for glute bridges again. So with the glute bridge, put those heels about a hand span from your glutes. So I'm reaching down, just able to touch them with my fingertips. Feet are hip distance apart and parallel, knees pressing out into the band. Pressurize your belly. Push all of that spine into the floor. Palms on the floor, elbows dug in, and 12 back bridges. 1, or glute bridges. 2, 3. If you find yourself scooting towards your head, 4, it means that you're pushing. 5, with your heels. 6, using your quads. 7, we want to use our glutes and our hamstrings. 8, to pull ourselves up. 9, 10, and not try and extend the legs. 11 and 12. So what I mean there is if I'm pushing with my heels, I'm coming up on my shoulders here and I'm arching my back. All right, so if I'm using my quads, if I'm not using my quads, I'm just going straight up, no strain on the back, all in the glute and hamstring. All right, let's come on up, take the band off, and do our bird dogs. Oh, I know what I'm missing. Missing a couple of things in this. That's why this is going so fast. All right, so we're going to do something before bird dogs. We're going to do Superbands. So in Superbands, we're going to be on our belly, pressing that belly in. The arms and the legs come off the floor. The further you extend your arms forward, I'm going to go the other way. Can't see the clock that way. Ready? And we're going to hold this for 40 seconds, 30 seconds. Let's do 30 to start. Okay? So the more you extend your arms, the harder it is. The easiest way to do this is to bring your hands down towards your sides into an A like the bottom of our YTAs and pull those shoulder blades together, palms face the floor. This is the easiest version. And I like this version because it really forces you to use those shoulder muscles. And come on down now into quadruped position. And we'll do our bird dogs. So let's go ahead and extend the right arm and the left leg all the way out. And 10 toe and finger dips with a straight knee and a straight elbow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep that waistline parallel to the floor. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now the knee to elbow under the body once we've extended all the way out. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Switching sides, extending that left arm out and the right leg out. Again, waistline and shoulders stay parallel to the floor. 10 toe and finger dips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now 10 knee to elbow under the body 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, come on down. Take a water break. All right, third set adjustments. Our front plank with shoulder taps will be a bear crawl front plank, and instead of knee to elbow, we're going to do either leg extensions or we're going to kick our heel up towards the sky in a mule kick. So everybody in a quadruped position to start. So let's get those hands under shoulders, knees under hips, tuck your toes under, press yourself up now that your knees are about 3 inches off the floor. And here we go. 45 seconds, shoulder tap, mule kick, shoulder tap, leg extension, shoulder tap, mule kick, shoulder tap, leg extension. Nice and slow, take your time. And although we don't do something that is specifically mule kicks on the bike, the way that you activate your hamstrings and glutes for that is how you would pump your bike at the pump track. and come on down, take a short rest. Next up is our rotating side planks. So this time, if you can do these in a front plank position with your arms extended, try and throw in some push-ups in between, a push-up in between. So everybody up, and 45 seconds starts now. Nice and controlled. No sagging hips. When you come into your side plank, don't let your hips go forward or back either. So think about your top hip and your bottom hip are stacked perfectly on top of each other in relation to gravity. Three, two, and one. And come on down. Next is our seated rows. We're going to add a little bit to this. We're going to start with the same series that we were doing. So seated, band over feet. We're going to start with our palms up grip, pinkies together, shoulders protracted. Retract the shoulder blades, pull the bands apart, and row into the bottom of your rib cage. 1, 2, 3. Sit up nice and tall. 4, 5. Make sure you're pulling with the shoulders first. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Switching to our palms down grip, so the thumb and forefinger are together. Let's retract the shoulder blades, pull the hands apart, and row into the bottom of our rib cage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Left hand up in the air, right hand single arm rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Switching hands. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Here's where we're going to get tricksy. Take your right foot out of the band. Keep it over your left foot. Spread your legs out into a great big wide V. Go as wide as you can and still have all 10 toes pointing at the ceiling. Reach across your body with the right hand, palms up grip, left hand up in the air. Face your left foot. As you do your single arm row, you're going to turn your trunk and face your right foot. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now let's switch the foot. So the band goes over the right foot. Left hand reaches across the body, palms up grip. Right hand up in the air. Face your right foot to start. Finish facing your left. 1, 2, 3. We're still pulling shoulder first. 4, 5, 6. We're still throwing. 7. That little turn. 8 in our wrist. 9 in our forearm. 10, 11, and 12. All right. Come on up to standing, and we'll do our RDLs, Romanian deadlifts. And I got to fix my shoelaces because they're starting to come untied again. All right, RDLs. We got that band over our feet, under our feet, around our feet. And we're standing nice and tall here. I'm going to turn sideways again. So hips hinge back, knees stay over the heels, grabbing and pulling up. So I'm grabbing that band with both hands. I'm pulling up. If you want to add a little bit of shoulder work, pull your hands apart, just like we do in the rows. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Step into the band, bring it up above your knees. Remember, legs come together. No knees collapsing in. I'm seeing some knees collapsed in. I want to see feet and knees at the same time. All right, band is up above the knees. we're going to do sumos. So sumos, we come into a partial squat position here. All right, and we're going to just barely lift our left foot off the floor and balance on our right leg. Keep pushing both knees into the band. And then we'll come over to our left foot and we'll balance, pushing the knees into the band. If I had a zipper, that zipper would be straight up and down. I'm seeing some folks tilt it over. Don't tilt over. Stay as deep in your lunge. We're back on the right foot, by the way. Stay as deep in your lunge as you can. You should feel the glute, the quad, the hamstring, the calf, all super active as we come back over to left foot. Push the floor away. Pushing the floor with my foot so that my glute, my calves, everything's active. Push the knees into the band. Let's come back to the right side. Push the knees into the band. More knees. Both knees push into the band. Don't let either knee collapse in. And back to our left side. Now, the next time we come to our right side, we're going to come up on our right side. We're going to turn to our left 90 degrees. So we're ready? Up on that left. I'm going to step backwards 90 degrees and stay down in my squat if I can. And then I'm going to pull my right foot around 90 degrees. So balancing on the right foot, coming around 90 degrees, balancing on my left foot, undoing that 90 degrees, coming around 90 degrees, balancing on the right, coming back with the left. I'm going to do one more rotation this way. Keep both knees pressing out into the band the whole time. Stay as deep in your squat as you can. Again, this is a glute workout. All right, and we'll stop facing forward. Go the other direction now. 2 rotations the other direction. And this is to really wake those glutes up. Super woke glutes. And we're doing 2 rotations this way. And come on up for a moment. And now down on the floor, we're going to do glute bridges. We're going to add to the glute bridges as well. So set yourself up on your back, feet where you can touch them with your fingertips, hand span from your glutes or closer if you can. Feet are hip width apart and parallel, knees are pressing into the band. We're going to bridge up this time. When we get to the top, we're going to open our legs out wide into a clamshell. We're going to bring the legs back in only to hip width, and we're going to do it controlled, never losing the tension in the band. All right, palms on the floor. Here we go. Up and clamshell and back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's okay, by the way. 6. If as you do this, 7 and you clamshell. 8. If you roll the outside edges of your foot. 9. You have to try and keep your whole foot on the floor. 10, 11, and 12. And come on up to the top. And we will finish with bird dogs. And then we'll take a water break. So we're ready? Quadruped position. Extend the right hand and the left leg all the way out. Nice and parallel to the floor with everything. And here we go. 10-toe finger dips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And all the way out. Now knee to elbow under the body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Switching sides. Extending the left arm, the right leg all the way out, making sure the shoulder and waist stay parallel to the floor. 10-toe finger dips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Extending all the way out. Now knee to elbow under the body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And let's take a quick water break and grab our mini bands. Bring that band back up above your knees. Now we're going to come into a tabletop position. So we're going to roll onto our backs. We're going to have our hips at 90 degrees, knees at 90 degrees, feet at 90 degrees. We're going to bring our legs together to start. Bring the head and shoulders up off the floor. Lace your fingers together, place them behind your head. Support your head. Don't pull on it, just support it. And bring your elbows nice and wide to the sides of the room. From here, your heels stay together. And your toes and knees come out into a clamshell. We're now going to dip that clamshell down and tap our heels and come right back up. You need to pressurize your belly, 2 and 3, to keep your back, all your spine, 4, on the floor for this. 5, pull those elbows wide. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Come on back up into tabletop. Bring your legs to hip width apart. Now, keep that 90-degree bend in the knees. Lower one heel to the floor and then the other heel to the floor. And 1, and 2, and 3. Keep your head and shoulders off the floor. 4, and 5. Pull your belly button in. And 6. Draw all those ab muscles in. 7. Because you want to push your entire back into the floor as you do this. 8, and 9, and 10, and 11, and 12. Bring your legs together again. Head and shoulders down on the floor, arms out into a T, palms on the floor. We're going to rotate our legs over to our left only as far as we can keep the right shoulder on the floor. Bonus, turn your head to the right. Gives you a little bit better stretch. And then we're going to inhale as we bring our legs up to the top. Exhale as we slide our legs over to the right side, only as far as we can keep the left shoulder on the floor. And up and over again to our left. And up and over again to our right. And up and over again to our left. Remember, we keep that right shoulder on the ground as we go to the left. And we keep the left shoulder on the ground as we come over to the right. And over to the left one more time. And over to the right one final time. And up to the middle. And roll yourself up to a seated position. All right. Let's come on in the side line. So line yourself up on the back edge of your mat on your side. Have your head, your hips, and your heels all lined up on the back edge of your mat. Knees are going to be bent 90 degrees, feet together, toes pulled up towards your nose. That band is just above your knees. Find your pelvic crest. That's that bony piece right above your front pocket. Roll that about 2 inches forward of the one on the floor. Keep it in place. We don't want to be rolling open when we do our clamshells here. All right, feet stay together, knees come apart, 12 clamshells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now the knees together and the foot comes up. 1, 2, 3. If you find that your pelvis is wandering, if you find your pelvis is wandering, use a little less range of motion. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Fire hydrants. The whole leg comes up with the shin parallel to the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and on 12 here, the leg stays high. We're going to rotate down and kiss the knees with the toes high. Come back high, kiss the toes with the knee high. 1, knees and toes. 2. Again, limit your range of motion. 3, if you need to. 4, keep that pelvis from rocking. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And now extend the leg all the way out. Push your heel away. And do little circles with your heel. Your legs should be hovering over the back of your mat as you do this. And you want to be constantly pulling with the back of your legs, so hamstring and glute, into that band even as your leg comes forward. And let's do our little circles the other direction. So even as the leg comes forward, you're still keeping back pressure on that band. So that's that thing about fighting the resistance of the band. That's what makes resistance bands so cool, is you've got resistance all the way around, especially on the negative rep. Let's bring the leg down and let's flip it over to the other side. So lined up on the back edge of your mat. You got your head, your hips, your heels all lined up on the back edge of your mat. Knees are at 90 degrees. Feet are together. Toes are pulled up towards your nose. Forefingers on our pelvic crest. Let's bring that forward of the pelvic crest on the floor and keep it there. Feet together, knees apart, 12 clamshells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And now knee together and the foot comes up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And now fire hydrants. 1, 2, 3. Shin parallel to the floor. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And on 12, the leg stays high, and we rotate down and kiss the knees, come back high and kiss the toes. 1, knees and toes. 2, 3, 4. Remember, keep that pelvis in place. 5, 6, so lesser range of motion if you need to. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And now we're going to straighten the leg all the way out. Push the heel away. Pull the toes towards the nose. Draw little circles with the heel. Leg is parallel to the floor, hovering over the back end of your mat, and you are pulling into the band the whole time as you're doing your little circles. Now let's do our little circles the other direction. And come on down. Let's take the band off and let's get a little stretching done. So we'll do the glutes first, and we're going to start in our back bridge position, that same glute bridge that we've been doing. So on our back sides, heels up close to our butt. So you can reach down and touch your heels with your fingertips. Feet are hip distance apart and parallel. Knees are hip width apart. And now we're going to cross the left ankle over the top of the right knee, just above the knee onto the thigh. We're going to thread our left hand through that hole, then both hands grab the right thigh, and we're going to use our thigh muscles in that right leg and our hands to pull back towards our nose, and that's going to stretch our left glute. Pull your toes towards their knees, so right toe to the right knee, left toe to the left knee. And you can do this either with your head and shoulders up, like I usually do, or down here on the floor, as long as you're not pressing your head into the floor as you do it. So tuck your chin in. We don't want to have you pressing the head in. That puts a lot of extra strain on the neck that we don't need. All right, let's put our feet back on the floor. Let's do the other side. So cross that right ankle across the left thigh just above the knee. Thread the right hand through the hole, grabbing the left thigh. Pull the left thigh back. Pull the toes towards their knees. And let's get into a nice deep stretch of our right glute. You can also play with, by the way, straightening and unstraightening your left leg. That'll change the dynamic of the stretch a little bit. It also gives you a little bit of a hamstring stretch if you need it. All right, both feet on the floor, roll yourself up to a seated position, and then spin yourself around onto your knees. So we're going to be in a kneeling tall body. We'll do our hip flexors next. If you need to, put extra padding under your knees if you've got a bruised knee or a knee that's aggravated by being knelt on. Knees are hip width apart. Feet are straight back, so they're hip width apart as well. Let's take the right leg. We're going to come right over top of all 5 toes into a lunge position. So kneecap over the shoelaces. Back knee is behind the hip, and I've got my knees hip width apart. Squeeze your glutes. Extend your tailbone straight down to the floor. Bring your hands to your thighs. Pull your shoulders down your back. Tuck your chin in, and use that pressure to push your hands into your knee and push that knee over the toes. So you're pushing your right knee over the right toes. Pull those shoulders down. Let me see more pulled shoulders down. Let me see more pulling those shoulder blades together and down in the back. That's it. So you should have a nice stretch from the knee of that left leg all the way up past your waistline into your belly. Might even feel a little bit of release in your low back, since part of your hip flexor is attached to your spine. The other part attaches out here to your hips. So you might feel something over your hip pocket stretching. All good. Let's bring ourselves back to a neutral position. Right leg straight back, left leg straight forward into our lunge. Again, we're staying hip width apart. Left kneecap is over the top of my shoelaces so that I can go forward over my toes. If my kneecap isn't over my shoelaces, I've taken too short a stride. All right, we've got that right knee behind the right hip. We're hip width apart, tailbones extended straight down to the floor. Both glutes are squeezed together. And now hands on the thigh, pressing down and away. Pull those shoulders together in the back. Tuck your chin in. More pulling the shoulders together in the back. This should feel really like a nice, relaxing position for your upper body as you're stretching your lower body. And theoretically, we can hold this for 30 or 40 seconds as long as we're still getting length out of those hip flexor muscles. All right, let's bring ourselves back to a neutral position. We'll bring that left leg straight back. Bring your feet together and your knees out as wide as you can, and then sit back on your heels. What we want to have is the top of our foot, our shoelaces, on the floor here. Okay, if you can't quite get your shoelaces to the floor, work on it, because that's where you will eventually want to be. You should feel a nice stretch along the inside of the thighs. Now, we're going to walk our hands forward. We're going to bring the hips along for the ride. We're going to come into a frog position. I'll turn sideways to show frog position from the side. So I'm walking forward, feet are together, knees are out wide, and my hips are forward. This is kind of like cobra pose in that I'm extended out. But what I'm doing here is I'm stretching my hips. So pull your soles of your shoes together. Keep your knees out wide. Squeeze your glutes. Extend your tailbone down towards your toes and pull your belly button in. Keep your arms extended. And in fact, push your hands into the floor. And remember we talked about shoulder protraction a lot earlier? Well, we're protracting those shoulder blades again here by pushing our hands in the floor. Those shoulder blades are coming around. So we're still working those shoulder muscles a little bit. All right, now press your hands into the floor. Bring your hips all the way back to your heels. Leave those hands where they are. Come all the way back. Get those sit bones on your heels. Once you're all the way back, you can drop your elbows to the floor in a long child's pose. Let your head drop. Let your head dangle. Breathe as deeply into your belly as you can. Try and breathe below your belly button. Try and breathe so deep you can feel your tailbone move. Try and breathe so deep in there you can feel your sacrum move. Your sacrum is that diamond shape of your spine that sits in between your hips and with your pelvis, and it's got two joints that need to move. If they get stuck, it's painful. So you should be able to breathe deep and move them. All right, let's rock ourselves up into a quadruped position. So it's going to be hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Tuck your toes underneath, push yourself into the floor, and come on up into a downward facing dog. Press your heels into the floor. Press your palms into the floor. Feel that stretch all along your back body from your shoulders all the way down into your heels, through the hamstring, through the calf, through the glute, through the back, through the shoulders, all of it getting stretched. And now walk your hands back to your toes and hang over in a hamstring stretch for just a moment. Let your arms dangle. So you're letting those arms be nice and heavy, hang out of the shoulder sockets. Let your head dangle so you're tractioning your neck a little bit. Again, breathe as deeply into your belly as you can. See if you can get some of those vertebrae down in the low back to move. Big deep breath in. On the exhale, we're going to use our calves, our hamstrings, our glutes, our back, and our shoulders and pull ourselves up to a tall standing body. And that is it. We have reached our hour of power. How's everybody feeling? Good? Awesome? Fantastic? Ready to go eat dinner?
So good. Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, Tom.
That was good stuff.
Thanks, guys. So really, you should be doing this sort of workout 3 times a week, once with me and twice on your own. If you can do it 4 or 5 times a week, that's great, but you should be trying to get 3 times a week in. Okay?
Yeah.
We'll post it tonight.
Yeah, and we're gonna post it tonight.
Yep.
So we'll have the
and you can just run through it. If what you want to do is run through the warm up and do 1 set of the main workout and the warm down at the end and the clamshells, that's fine. But doing some of this is just going to help keep this all strong. Something I didn't mention here is we talk about core and core work, and really your core goes from here all the way down to here. It's at your chest all the way down to just above your knees. That's your core. That includes your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads, all of your belly muscles, your shoulders, your chest. That's all core work. That has to be stable when we're on the bike. It's not just about your belly. It's about all of it, okay? Does ballet class count? Yes, it does, depending on what you're doing. But I would say 100%. One of the master teachers that I've worked with that I learned a lot of my moves from, a lot of my floor work from, was a dancer for the San Francisco Ballet. That woman has core for days. Like, she does stuff that I can't even imagine doing. So yes, absolutely, Isabella, doing your ballet is going to work that core really well. Anybody else? Nope. Okay. I'll see everybody on bikes at some point this week, hopefully.
Yep.
All right. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The record. Finish recording.